And until we become people of principles, then we're going to be tossed around by every whim that drives our emotions. Focus is a distraction to anything that you're not focused on. Distraction is focus, and focus is distraction. And I am telling you, the stuff that's blocking you in your life, it might be bigger than you, but that's not why it's blocking you. It's blocking you because you're focused on the fact that it's bigger than you. Don't allow the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism to put a identity on you by telling you all the stuff you're not. I am telling you that it is not God's design for his people to be broke, period. I'm not going to back in the door with that. But man, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. I know it does, but see, I've studied it and I know what that means. It's a perfect cure. It's not a kind of sort of good cure. Here's what's fascinating. God's not going to be right about heaven and wrong about everything else. And this whole idea that followers of Christ are supposed to be broke is a satanic lie that's been propagated by religion. And so a misinterpretation will cause you to miss your blessing. What does that mean? Don't talk about what you're going to do, walk about what you're going to do, right? Everybody, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah, show me, then talk about it. By the way, I can ride a bike 2 miles faster than he can run 1 mile. I go farther, faster, and use less energy. So what do we learn from that principle? The people who are making way more money than you are not making more money than you because they're working harder than you. In fact, they're making more money than you because they're not working harder than you. Now you say, Myron, why do you keep doing this? I keep doing this because the principle is this. I can always make up and leverage what I lack in ability. It is always easier to make great strides than it is to make great advances, small advances. It's always, everybody say always. It's always easier to make great strides than it is to make small advances. But because you've been programmed by the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism and you spent the majority of your young life in the government indoctrination camps, AKA child prisons, schools, whatever you want to call them, since you spent most of your life in that arena, what happened was you were programmed to make small advances over a long period of time, and nobody ever taught you how to make great gains over a very short period of time. How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Wave at me. And so what has to happen is if you're going to make great strides, you have to learn to think differently. I said I can always make up and leverage what I lack in ability. But here's why most people don't do that. Because they don't understand that leveraged work is better than laborious work. Yes. Right? It produces more. It uses less energy. It's more effective. It's more efficient. It's better in every conceivable way. The reason most people never get rich is because they spend their entire life running financially. But people who make a little bit more money, they get a bicycle. People who make a lot more money, they get a car. People who make more money than they have time to spend, they either have a plane or a jet. See, if you take that same principle, if it's easier to go farther, faster, and use less energy in transportation, it has to be true that it's easier to make more money working less if you have the right leverage. So what we have to do is we have to slow down from the running that's all we know is already not working long enough to find some leverage, pay for it if necessary, take the time to learn how to use it if necessary, so we can finally change our lives. And so you could literally give yourself a raise just by making a decision, not a choice, a decision. Choice, like choose means pick one. When you cut yourself off from any other possibility other than the fact, this is what I'm going to do, this is what my life is going to be about, and nothing's going to stop me. When that becomes your mantra, when that becomes your decision, oh, you can't be, they can't stop you. Yeah, but you don't understand. I'm a woman and this man the men can't stop. I'm a black man in a white man's world. White man can't stop. I'm a white man in a black man's world. Black man can't stop. There is no excuse. The limitation exists in your head. And so what you do is you go around acting as if it exists around you when it only exists within you. And I am telling you, if you will get better at thinking and better at talking, you will make more money. You can raise the floor and eliminate the ceiling, and it'll change your life. If you're gonna quit when it's going well. If you're gonna quit when it's easy. If you're going to give up at the top of the mountain, not at the bottom of the mountain, not on the side of the mountain, not in the middle of the mountain. Give up when you get to the top of the mountain. If you're going to quit after you make it work in grand fashion. Quit after you build and sell a successful business. Don't quit on the journey. People will start working on something because they have this grand vision in their mind. And they think, when this happens, it's going to be great. And it doesn't happen as fast or as smoothly as they thought it should happen, and then they quit. Even though there are risks involved, I'm going to work when it looks like it might not work, if when it does work, it's worth it. See, if the downside is limited and the upside is unlimited, that is a chance I'm always willing to take. And see, there are people who are not willing to take a chance on an unlimited upside because they're so afraid of the limited downside. So here's what's amazing. The people that have the most to lose are the least afraid to lose it. And the people that have the least to lose are the most afraid to lose it. It's just like that today. Yeah, man, that seems like a scam. Bro, I got some bad news for you. You grown and broke. You already been scammed. There are people who are more successful than you, who are less talented than you. There are people who are more successful than you that are not as smart as you. There are people that are more successful than you who are less skillful than you. The difference is the risk associated with preparing to build something scares people away. But see, unfortunately, because we were programmed in a Western society where previous historical business moguls didn't understand that winning is not a zero-sum game, they built manufacturing plants to make the stuff they were going to sell to the consumers, and then they built manufacturing plants for the workers to come work in their factories, and they call them schools. Oh, that's a historic fact. That's why the Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, they contribute so much money to the educational system. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but it does creates some issues inside of us. We become dependent on someone we don't know to make sure that we and our families are provided for. That's one. But the other problem is we get addicted to a paycheck. And we become so addicted to a paycheck that if it doesn't make us money instantly, we don't want to do it, right? And see, we want to sow today and reap today. That's not the law of the farm. The farm don't work like that. We got drive-through restaurants, drive-through banking, drive-through dry cleaners. We got instant microwavable meals, instant this, instant that. Everything's instant, so we want instant drive-through microwavable success. It doesn't work like that. It's not that the potential danger's not real. Like when you're working on something, here's what we're learning from this. Work has risks associated with it. If you don't do the work because you're afraid of the risk, you will never get the wealth that only the work can bring. Time and chance is the intersection between preparation and opportunity. So who is the person that wins the race? The one that's most prepared when the race starts. Who is the person that wins the battle? The one that's most prepared when the battle starts. Who is the one that has favor and bread and riches? The one who's most prepared. And if you dig a hole while you're preparing yourself, here's what's going to happen. It's going to take time. Preparing yourself is going to take time. And some people, because of the risk associated with the time that it takes to prepare, because that time that I'm preparing, I'm not doing other things that I'd really rather do. So I'm not preparing for the rest of my life because I'm existing through this current chapter in my life. Oh, I forgot to tell you, be fruitful, multiply. Let me go back there first. Be fruitful. What is fruitful? A fruit, according to Genesis, is a living organism whose seed is in itself. So the ability to regenerate and replicate and duplicate and multiply is inside of you. So when God told man to be fruitful, God is telling us that he put an aspect of his creativity, the seed of an aspect of his creativity inside of all of us. But what we have to do is we have to cultivate the seed of the aspect of creativity that God put inside of us. We have to cultivate that seed and let it produce. So that's the B part. Being fruitful means you make sure what I put inside of you shows up outside of you. That's what be fruitful means. Make room. Like you prepare yourself and then you make room for the blessing, regardless of the risk associated with making room. And so there's risk associated with the preparation. There's risk associated with the clearing. There's making of room. There's risk associated with building something. But do it anyway. It's not going to be easy, it's just going to be worth it. It's not going to be cheap, it's just going to be worth it. Everybody's not going to go with you, but it's still going to be worth it. This is why I keep on working when stuff seems like it's not working for me. And so many people don't like the way it feels when the work is working on you, so you stop working on it.